us Formula One fans were in for a treat today for the British Grand Prix. At the start of the race, teams were a little iffy on which tire to go with. Some stood out on the standing start formation with intermediate tires, and some actually boxed for slick tires. Some got mediums, hard, and Lance Stroll got a soft tire out of all people. And let me tell you, he timed it right because he actually had a good day on track, and he scored a lot of valuable points for Aston Martin. But when we had that mixed strategy at the start, I knew for a fact that we're going to see some people in positions at the end that did not belong there. And it happened. Lando Norris won, Oscar Piastri second. That was a very controversial race for Piastri. I think the FIA were a bit too harsh for the penalty they handed out to Piastri. Because Piastri, in my opinion, did the same exact thing as George Russell did in the Canadian Grand Prix. So it's just not a good look from the FIA. All it does right now is feed the rumors of British bias for the FIA. That's all it does. It just fuels it. And you don't want that. You want to be consistent with the rulings. And I think the FIA done Oscar Piastri dirty. He should have won the Grand Prix, or at least should have had a chance to fight his teammate for the win, but he didn't, and it's a shame. But yeah, Piastri finished second. Nico Hülkenberg third in a Sauber. I know a lot of people at the beginning of the year, like myself, said the Sauber was going to be the worst team on the grid. They're getting prepared for 2026 with the new Audi project. But when Jonathan Wheatley came to the team, I would lie to you if I didn't say that they're not getting better. They're getting really better. And I just think the trajectory of this State Kick Sauber team is just extraordinarily high. I think the second half of the year, they're going to chase down Williams for P5 in the Constructors. Nico Hülkenberg is getting better with this car, and Gabriel Bortoleto is too, but it doesn't help that today he wrecked out early. But he's a rookie, so give him time, just like a lot of people are giving Isaac Hajar, Kimi Antonelli, Ollie Behrman, and so on, Liam Lawson, Franco Colapinto, and so on. You get the point. Gabriel is a rookie, so don't be harsh on him. Stroll had a good day. Gasly had a good day. But I'm not really here to talk about that stuff, which I did for a minute, but I want to talk about Franco Colapinto. Franco Colapinto's seat in Alpine is on fire right now. He came in to the team in Imola with 3 targets: points, fast, not wrecking, from Flavio Briatore. And qualifying, he broke the first rule, wrecking. And yeah, he really couldn't do much in Imola after a very piss-poor qualifying effort. So he was just stuck in a DRS train and came home 16th. It was a squared result there. You move on to Monaco, a tough track, not suited at all for the Alpine cars. Qualifies 20th and finishes 13th, so he actually did make up some ground. But you move on to Spain, has a very bad mechanical failure in qualifying, has to start from 19th on the grid, and he finishes 15th. And you go on to Austria, or Canada. I'm getting my words tied up here. I'm looking at this my note sheet. But he went in the Canadian Grand Prix with a lot of bad momentum, if you will. He is wanting to turn it into good momentum. It's like a lot of bad things have happened to Franco leading up to that point. But he qualified 10th. But he did actually qualify 12th, but he has some help from grid penalties and move up to the 10th place. And from that point on, he actually had a good outing, finishing 13th, which I believe from that point on actually gave Franco a lot of confidence. Now he's heading into a track at the Red Bull Ring where he's raced a lot in the past and been very successful. So maybe he can score some points there. Nope. Qualifies 14th, finishes 15th. And yeah, just a very rough day for Franco there. But you move on to the UK. And this is now the 6th race because he was only guaranteed 5 races, if you can remember. And he qualifies 20th because he wrecks. And the team overnight decides to give him a brand new spanking car. New power unit, new everything. And this wouldn't be such a big deal if this happened between practice sessions, like if he happened after practice 2 and heading in overnight to practice 3. You had that practice to do a shakedown and get ready for qualifying. But Franco never had that luxury of doing that. And they just get everything intact, if you will, and they had a slight mechanical failure, and it was just enough to retire from the car, retire the car from the race. I get my words tied up here. But yeah, Franco finished dead last today, and now he's heading into a 2-week break with a lot of uncertainty on his side. It really is. I've seen over the weekend 2 other drivers mentioned as a replacement for him, Jack Doohan and Valtteri Bottas. I just don't see, if you're Flavio Briatore, why you would decide to move on for Franco. I think the bet is made, at least to the summer break. If you're making 2 driver changes before the summer break, that's insane. It's just not a good look. I know it's going to piss off a lot of commercial partners for Alpine, because a lot of the commercial partners for Alpine right now are South American, Latin American companies. And I think Franco Colapinto does have a lot of pull with the financial he brings. And I just don't see them moving on for Franco for the Belgian Grand Prix, let alone the Hungarian Grand Prix. But after that, they may reevaluate it. But then again, if you're going to let him race them, might as well let him finish out the year, then and reevaluate it then at the end of the year, because they spent a pretty big penny on Franco. But the two options, like I said, were Jack Doohan and Valtteri Bottas. Jack Doohan started off the year not spectacular. He's a rookie just like Franco is. He doesn't have the highest ceiling, so Franco wins that battle there. Valtteri Bottas, that is an interesting story there. He is with Mercedes right now as a test and reserve driver, but he's also one with McLaren and also Williams. And so he's been working around with those Mercedes teams, customer teams. And what's Alpine going to be next year? A Mercedes customer team. So I could very well see the world where Valtteri comes into this team and maybe doesn't perform right away, but maybe next year it will pay off because of the knowledge and experience he has right now on the sideline. I know that sounds very crazy, but look at Nico Hülkenberg. Right before he left Renault, his career was just kind of going spiraling down. And when he came back to the sport, he was like rejuvenated, like had a new life. And he was very competitive. And I just think a year off, or at least 6 months off, is going to help Valtteri Bottas. I think that's going to rejuvenate him and revive his career. But I don't think it's going to happen in the Belgian Grand Prix. I think Franco keeps the ride for the next 2 races. But what do you think happens with Franco? Does he get the boot? Who replaces him? Comment down below.